Welcome to Roots to Riches, where the journey of success unfolds. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications so you never miss out on incredible stories about how the biggest companies in the world began, their toughest challenges, and the inspiring road they took to greatness. Plus, we'll be sharing life-changing tips along the way. Your support is key to growing this channel. Please share these stories with your friends, family, and anyone looking for inspiration. Thanks for being part of the journey. Have you ever felt like your dreams were on the brink of collapsing? Like the walls were closing in, and no matter what you did, there seemed to be no way out? What if I told you that one of the biggest entertainment empires of today, Marvel Comics, faced this exact struggle and nearly lost everything? In today's story, we're going deep into how Marvel started, hit rock bottom, and clawed its way back to become a multi-billion-dollar powerhouse. And by the end of this video, you'll walk away not just with Marvel's story, but with the tools to tackle your own challenges head-on. Let's get started. In 1939, a man named Martin Goodman started Timely Publications, the company that would eventually become Marvel Comics. They published pulp magazines, stories about swashbuckling heroes, and daring adventures. In the late 1930s and early 40s, the world was hungry for stories of hope, so superheroes like Captain America were born, inspiring millions. But what happens when people stop buying your stories? When the very thing that once made you successful begins to fade? What happened to Marvel when the world seemed to move on? We'll come back to that. The early days were a whirlwind of success. In 1941, Captain America made his debut, fighting Nazis at the height of World War II. Marvel, or Timely Comics back then, was riding a wave of success. Superheroes were everywhere. But here's the thing, even success is temporary if you don't adapt. As the war ended, the superhero craze began to cool off. Comic book readers were moving on to westerns, romance, and other genres. So what do you do when the thing you're known for is no longer wanted? Goodman and his team didn't know it at the time, but the worst was yet to come. By the 1950s, superheroes were losing popularity. Marvel was struggling. What used to sell millions now barely moved copies. Readers just weren't interested in their stories anymore. Have you ever worked on something for years only to see it suddenly fail? How would you feel if your life's work was slipping through your fingers? Marvel faced that exact nightmare. Their competitors were overtaking them, and no matter how many comics they put out, it wasn't enough. What do you do in moments like that? It's easy to feel defeated, right? Marvel, too, was defeated. By the mid-1990s, things got so bad that they filed for bankruptcy. They were nearly wiped out. But here's where the story gets interesting. While Marvel was in the middle of financial ruin, one man believed that their characters, Spider-Man, the X-Men, the Avengers, were worth saving. That man was Kevin Feige. He saw a future not just in comics, but in movies, in shared universes, in a whole new way of telling stories. But how do you repurpose a company that's already failed? How do you pivot from what people think you are into something they've never imagined? Marvel's leadership asked that same question. And their answer? They bet everything on a brand new idea, superhero films. Marvel started licensing out its characters for movies. Spider-Man, X-Men, and Blade came first. But the real game changer came in 2008 when Marvel, for the first time, decided to produce their own movie. The film? Iron Man. But here's the thing. Marvel didn't have a big budget. They didn't have proven success in Hollywood. They were taking a massive risk, but they had a vision. What happens when you pour everything into one last shot? Iron Man wasn't just a hit. It was a cultural reset. This wasn't just a superhero movie. It was the first piece of what would later be called the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU. The success of Iron Man not only saved Marvel, it propelled them to the top of the entertainment world. But what did Marvel really do that made it work? Was it just luck? No. Marvel did something brilliant. They focused on what they were great at. Instead of trying to be like other studios, they created something new, a shared universe. Each movie was connected. Each story led to the next, just like their comics. Marvel wasn't just telling individual stories anymore. They were telling one grand story. Now think about that for a second. Have you ever faced a time in your life when you had to pivot? when the path you were on wasn't working anymore? Marvel didn't just pivot, they transformed. So, what can we learn from Marvel's journey from bankruptcy to billion-dollar blockbusters? What if I told you that the most important lesson here isn't just about repurposing your content, but about staying true to your vision? Marvel's characters were always their strength, and when they stopped trying to follow trends and focused on how to tell their stories in new ways, they found success. What about you? Are there parts of your life where you feel like you're losing? Are there moments when you feel like you're on the edge of collapse? Here's the truth. Like Marvel, your struggles aren't the end. They're just the beginning of something new, something better. Every challenge you face has the potential to become the launchpad for your greatest victory. All it takes is that one shift, a new way of seeing things, of repurposing what you already have, and betting on yourself when no one else will. So what happens next? How will you turn your failure into your greatest success? Only time will tell. But if Marvel can go from bankruptcy to billions, you can too. Remember, just like Marvel, you're one idea away from changing everything. If you enjoyed this story and want more content like this, don't forget to hit subscribe. And remember, your story isn't over yet. Keep pushing, keep evolving, and always, always believe that the next chapter is going to be your best one yet. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to share it with those you care about. Also, click on the video to my right or left. They are fantastic.